Hi, second graders. Now I'm going to read to you poem book number 3. Read along with me. The reason I like chocolate. The reason I like chocolate is I can lick my fingers and nobody tells me I'm not polite. I especially like scary movies 'cause I can snuggle with mommy or my big sister and they don't laugh. I like to cry sometimes 'cause everybody says, "What's the matter? Don't cry." And I like books for all those reasons, but mostly 'cause they make me feel happy. And I like to be happy. That poem is by Nikki Giovanni. Today is very boring. This is our next poem. Today is very boring. It's a very boring day. There is nothing much to look at. There is nothing much to say. There's a peacock on my sneakers. There's a penguin on my head. There's a dormouse on my doorstep. I am going back to bed. Today is very boring. It is boring through and through. There is absolutely nothing that I think I want to do. I see giants riding rhinos and an ogre with a sword. There's a dragon blowing smoke rings. I am positively bored. Today is very boring. I can hardly help but yawn. There's a flying saucer landing in the middle of my lawn. A volcano just erupted less than half a mile away, and I think I felt an earthquake. It's a very boring day. And that poem is by Jack Prelutsky. It makes me think a little bit of What Do You Do with a Kangaroo? These next two poems are called haiku poems, and that means that they're of a special design. They have 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables in the second, and 5 in the last. And both of these poems are by a poet named Basho. An old silent pond. An old silent pond. A frog jumps into the pond. Splash. Silence again. The next one is called Farewell Like a Bee. Farewell like a bee, reluctant to leave the deeps of a peony. Aren't those short? Also, another thing about haiku poems is that they are usually about nature, and both of these poems are about nature. You could try to write one yourself. This next poem is called The Little Turtle. We read it before in the other book, but I'll read it again to you. There was a little turtle, he lived in a box. He swam in a puddle, he climbed on the rocks. He snapped at a mosquito, he snapped at a flea, he snapped at a minnow, and he snapped at me. He caught the mosquito, he caught the flea, he caught the minnow, but he didn't catch me. And that is by Vachel Lindsay. This poem is called Who Has Seen the Wind? And the poet's name is Christina Rossetti. You see it down at the bottom right? Who has seen the wind? Neither I nor you. But when the leaves hang trembling, the wind is passing through. Who has seen the wind? Neither you nor I. But when the trees bow down their heads, the wind is passing by. That one is great writer's eyes. This next poem is called Sea Joy, S-E-A, like the sea that you'd go swimming in, not see like your eyes, that's S-E-E. When I go down by the sandy shore, I think of nothing I want more than to live by the booming blue sea, as the seagulls flutter round about me. I can run about when the tide is out, with the wind and the sand and the sea all about. And the seagulls are swirling and diving for fish. Oh, to live by the sea is my only wish. That poem is by Jacqueline Bouvier. And I know some of you had ideas to write about a beach, so maybe that will inspire you more. The Swing. This poem is by Robert Louis Stevenson. How do you like to go up in a swing, up in the air so blue? Oh, I do think it is the pleasantest thing ever a child can do. Up in the air and over the wall, till I can see so wide, rivers and trees and cattle and all, over the countryside. Till I look down on the garden green, down on the roof so brown. Up in the air I go flying again, up in the air and down. This next poem is called This is the Key. And if you've ever read The Napping House by Don and Audrey Wood, this one reminds me of that one. This is the key to the kingdom. In that kingdom there is a city. In that city there is a town. In that town there is a street. In that street there is a lane. In that lane there is a yard. In that yard there is a house. In that house there is a room. In that room there is a bed. On that bed there is a basket. In that basket there are some flowers. Flowers in a basket, basket on a bed, bed in the room, room in the house, house in the yard, yard in the lane, lane in the street, street in the town, town in the city, city in the kingdom. Of the kingdom, this is the key. And this poem is by Anonymous. They do not know who wrote it. This next poem is called The Red Wheelbarrow by William Carlos Williams. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow, glazed with rainwater, beside the white chickens. Very simple poem, but that poet, you can tell, really paid attention to the details. This last poem is called The Plumpest, and it's by Christopher Morley. And I think as we read it, you'll find out who the Plumpets are. When little heads weary have gone to their bed, when all the good nights and prayers have been said, of all the good fairies that send bairns to rest, the little Plumpets are those I love best. If your pillow is lumpy or hot, thin and flat, the little Plumpets know just where they're at. They plump up the pillow, all soft, cool, and fat. The little Plumpets plump up it. The little Plumpets are fairies of beds. They have nothing to do but watch sleepy heads. They turn down the sheets, and they tuck you in tight, and dance on your pillow to wish you good night. Good night. I hope you're having a great day and you enjoyed the poems. And read them again and circle any of the words you don't know. Write them down. We'll talk about it. And I'll see you later. Bye.